Hello, World of Warcraft fans, and welcome back to another episode of Casual Encounters. This is episode 2.3, my World of Warcraft show. Uh, Thank you for coming back. Welcome if this is the first time you're watching a show. Um, so, as I always mention, I use Legendary and from Grainbaker TV, convert to Raid. And I probably mentioned back in my first episode that I also watched Talk Azeroth, which is Olivia D Grace, just basically by herself, kind of doing what I'm doing here. She picks like one or two topics and goes pretty in depth on it. She takes a half an hour, 40 minutes or whatever, and really goes into depth on some of the topics that she talks about. And and yesterday on my last episode, I talked about Ten Mans, and hoping to see, so hearing that they're coming back in Warlords of Draenor, I was pretty happy about that. And today, when I was looking at the internet, and I went to the ZAM official channel, and Olivia had her Talk Azeroth up today, and what do you know? She was talking about Ten Mans. So I think she got her video up about 2 hours before I did, so she was probably like uploading hers like while I was doing mine. Um, so I didn't really get to listen to her and all the things she said, but I watched it a little bit. I watched it, before making this video. Um, and she got pretty in depth about it. Where they should stand when it comes to LFR. Um, should they be if let's say they bring out new heroic dungeons, right? Uh, like they usually do out around with the last patch or whatever. Where should their item level be? Like what kind of stuff should it be better than LFR? Should it be where should it stand? Should you be able, because she was mentioned. Well, I'm not going to mention talk everything she said. You should really, honestly, you should watch Talk Azeroth if you want to get all the information that she was talking about. I just don't want to repeat everything she says. It seems kind of, waste of time. That way you don't have, hear everything twice. But just things about where it should stand in relation to LFR. Because people were complaining about how with the some of the dungeons it was too easy to catch up, or the gear was worth, more than or the same as the Firelands gear, I guess, last time, and people were complaining about that, which I don't know. I think if you should have a nice easy way to catch up. When if you want to go and get into the current raids with your friends and stuff. So go take a look at that. I just found it funny that she spoke about that. We were talking about it at the same time. Um, I really like Olivia D Grace. She really has some really great opinions. She gets everything from all angles. So you should really go take a look at her show Talk Azeroth on the ZAM official channel. It's really good, um, along with Legendary and Convert to Raid. As for a different topic, one of the things I know I mentioned I wanted to talk about was PvP and PvE, um, the conflicts. Class changes that they make, uh, usually because PvP is broken somehow. Um, so I know, and a lot of times these class changes will affect PvE. Um, I don't really, I don't. I mean, I understand they have to do that for class balance and PvP and stuff. Um, what I don't get is like if there's really a problem with a specific, class rotation, or maybe not a rotation, but a particular spell or a particular thing that you could do in PvP that breaks PvP. Um, I'm pretty sure that they can kind of make that spell just less effective or more effective or however it needs to be changed against other players. I mean, if it's working in PvE at least. I mean, if it's causing a problem in PvE, obviously, that's something they have to change. But you know, if if everything is going well in PvE and people are liking it and everything is good, um, I think they should just leave it, but maybe have it not work the same against other players. And I think they've done this already, right? With let's say CCs. I know how you get I think you get diminishing returns or something when you sheep somebody in PvP. So if you're against another player and you CC somebody, that player you know, will have less chance, or it'll last less time or something. So I just don't understand why they don't do that more. Like if because I know they always doing these class changes for PvP, and I just think I know they can do it. They already, like I said, they already have things against other players. Like it works differently. So I just think, well, why don't they just do that all the time? If a mage is putting out too much burst damage against other players, obviously in a raid that doesn't matter, because you're against the boss who has hundreds and thousands of millions of health or whatever. So, or hundreds of millions of health. Uh, so that kind of burst damage really isn't an issue, and you actually need that burst damage, right, in certain situations, to get down certain mobs quickly or to get through a particular phase faster. You need that burst damage a lot of time in PvE. So if, for example, a mage has too much burst damage for PvP because it's just not fair, because PV, you know, other players just don't have that kind of health, um, then maybe make it so that I don't know, maybe against other players a certain spell or certain burst damage at a certain time will only will affect them differently. Maybe have less damage, or maybe it'll stagger it a little bit or something. But to make all these class changes because PvP is broken or doesn't work in PvP, just doesn't seem right. So I really think that they can make. We already know they can. So I don't. More often, I believe that they should just make those changes so that it just affects other players instead of having to make the spell change on its own. I don't think it'll be a problem. I mean, it's so easy to put it in a tooltip. Hey, only does this to other players or whatever. So I think it'd be pretty easy to do. I mean, I don't think it'd be a big issue. Um, Not as far, I don't know. Maybe there's some technical issues I don't know about, but like I said, they're already doing it for CCs and stuff. So I don't see why they can't do it for other spells, burst damage type stuff. So yeah. What do I want to talk about next? Excuse me. Garrisons. So lots of talk about garrisons going on. Lots of speculation. So what do we know so far? I guess from what I've heard, you're going to be able to start working on your garrison as soon as you get into Warlord. So as soon as you get, I think as soon as you get onto the planet Draenor, I guess you're going to be able to, I'm not exactly sure how they're going to do it, but from what I've heard, you'll start working towards your garrison right off the bat. So, you know, um, and the way it works is, it levels up. You level up your garrison. Um, I think you start off with 3 plots, and I think you have a town hall or something. I think that's sort of the basic, the main thing that you start with, and you'll be able to put a level 1 plot, level 1 this, a level 1 that, whether it be a profession table, or a barracks, or a mine, or whatever, and and then you'll, I'm assuming, using mats and gold and whatever, you'll be able to upgrade those particular, each plot, each barrack, each mine, each profession table, or whatever it is it happens to be, you'll level that up. I think they'll have 3 levels, and well, I think once you get all 3 of your plots up to level 3, then you'll get 2 more plots, and then you'll be able to add 2 other things, and then you can level those up, and then you'll get 2 more, and then I think that's where it ends. I think it's seven total plots of different sizes. So you'll have, like, kind of like how the glyphs work. You have major and minor glyphs, and there used to be the third kind, and I think that's how it works. I think there's going to be 3 different kind of plots. It's either 2 or 3, I can't remember. Bigger and smaller, different sizes, and you'll be able to put different things on them. So that's pretty cool, and if you can work on that throughout your leveling process, I think that'll be really great. Because once you get to max level and stuff, I guess doing all that stuff would be kind of long, and who knows. Um, so I guess it's taken the farm thing to a whole new level. Um, I didn't. It's funny because I had a hard time. I started doing the farm. I did a lot of it, and I didn't. You know, After a while, I just found it just tedious and not that fun anymore. Hopefully, they find ways to make the garrisons a little bit more fun and useful. Um, a lot of and it seems at this point, from what I've heard, it's going to be strictly character based. Um, uh, so that means, I guess, you'll have to make a garrison for each of your tunes. Now, considering that this is going to be happening throughout your leveling process, I guess that's not too bad. Um, what I thought would be really cool, and I think other people obviously have mentioned this, if it was like sort of like an account wide garrison. Um, Now that could have its pros and cons, right? So, if you have an account bound garrison, you might not be able to have as many different options. Like, so let's say you only have these 7 plots that you can have. Um, you're going to be limited at those 7. But what if there's, like, I'm just throwing out a number there. I have no idea how many different items, different kinds of plots you'll be able to make. But so let's say there's, like, you know, 15 different kinds of things you could put on. If it's an account wide garrison, uh, you're going to be stuck with those 7. Whereas if you have character garrisons, you will have 7 for each, right? So you could have all the different things on your alts, a lot like your own professions. It's like, if professions were account wide, you might, what if you'd only had your 2 professions that you chose, and that's all you would have? You wouldn't be able to have another character with, you know, the different professions. So I think it's kind of the same thing. With having a different garrison for every different tune, you will be able to have all those. You'll be able to have a variety of different plot types for each character, and each character will be able to do something different in your garrison. So it would be very nice. I think it would be. I think it's really going to depend on the player, because I think for me, I'd probably prefer just to have the one. I think, like I said, depending on how easy it is to make, and how much mats it requires, how much gold it requires, how much how much time. Like, I think that's the big thing, right? How much time it's going to take up. So, I think for someone like me, I think I would like to be able to have that sort of account wide garrison that I could use both my tunes to build up, work on it, work on that one garrison, and bring it to its finale, or whatever you want to call it, to its biggest level, with use both my tunes to be able to do that, and use the resources of both my tunes to bring up that garrison. Um, and or I mean, obviously it'd be a lot of work to have a whole bunch of different ways to do it. I mean, you're not going to have. I'm sure it would be nice, but I don't think they're going to give you the option of saying, okay, well, you can have an account one, uh, or you can have one for each individual character. I mean, that would be really great because then people who do want to put all that time and effort into making a garrison for each character, um, have a different one. The different achievements have those. I think they said now they're going to have some monuments that you're going to be able to place inside your garrison for all your achievements. That's really, really cool. So, if you want to have, some kind of monument for your, like, for example, my mage got the explorer title or whatever, so let's see, as a monument for being an explorer, and my druid did something else. I don't remember. Whatever the case, did some big thing, right? Um, and I get a monument for that. I have it there. But it would also be cool, thinking about it, to have both in one. Have that my garrison for both my tunes. Have all the monuments I want on it for both my tunes. I think it would be like really cool if you could have one big garrison, and let's say maybe for each character that you share it with, maybe you could add a plot or I don't know. I think it would just be really, really cool to be able to share that with all of your tunes and pool the resources of all your tunes together to be able to make one big garrison, or with one really nice garrison, instead of having to go through that whole thing and all of your different tunes. Um, but I know I understand that it'd be hard to make a lot of different systems in the game. Blizzard would have to really spend a lot of development time, I suppose, on making those different kind of systems. So I could kind of understand how that would be really difficult, but it would be really cool. I think it would be really cool to have that option, have either tune by tune or an account wide one. It'd be it would be nice to see, but I have a lot of trouble seeing it actually happen. Um, so yeah, that's so far. That's my thoughts on Garrisons at the moment. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I hope it's fun. I hope it's engaging. I hope it's not just like some kind of grindy thing. Uh, So let's hope for the best on that. Um, um, so away from that, I had a as I mentioned in my previous video, I had my guildies go and take a look at my videos, and I had one of my guildies. He was nice enough to put up a bunch of comments and stuff, and I guess I kind of, something I had failed to mention. Well, it wasn't really part of my conversation, but talking about the Warlords of Draenor and Garrosh going back to Draenor, and creating a new horde and all that stuff. Um, when he goes, "Oh no, don't tell me Garrosh is going to be the boss again," I'm not up. I don't think that's cool. So I'm like, okay, well, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mention it, but uh, he's not going to be the boss. So from what I understand, he sets everything up, he gets everything started, but he's basically just getting the ball rolling for somebody else to do something and become the big bad boss. I don't know what it is yet. I think they mentioned something in BlizzCon, who it might be, but I don't know if they were. I can't remember who they said, but it's not really important. But I don't even know if it's true, if they were just joking around or whatever. But who knows? Who knows what it'll be? But yeah, it's not going to be Garrosh again, so no worries there. No one has to worry about that. So what else? Um, what was I wanting to mention? Yeah, we were talking about. I think in my last episode, I was talking about tanks, um, and how we can get more tanks in. And I mentioned what could Blizzard do, and I never spoke about it. All I spoke about was what we could do to, not be, try out being a tank and be nice to tanks and all that stuff. But I never really talked about maybe what Blizzard could do to encourage more tanks. Um, honestly, I don't know. um, I, you know, One of my guildies mentioned, he feels that tanking in a raid is so much responsibility. One missed taunt, one this. It's very very. You really really have a lot of responsibility as a tank. Um, so all I could think of is maybe Blizzard just needs to find a way to take some of that responsibility away from the tank. I'm not quite sure how. Um, it's a really difficult to think how. I mean, I know that they've already, um, in back, I don't remember when it was, but a little while back, they reduced, or I shouldn't say they reduced, they actually gave more aggro to tanks. It's just more natural aggro, and that really helped a lot. Um, so maybe they can find something else, something similar. Uh, s- you know, just maybe make it so that a mistake by tanks isn't going to be so severe. Let's say missing a taunt or just giving a little more leeway. I would say especially, I'm not talking about heroic mythical rating and stuff. Obviously that is very finely tuned, and you have to do everything right. Everybody does, right? um, that's normal. But maybe in the LFRs and in the flex modes and stuff, maybe even a little bit in the normals. Um, if we're talking about Warlords of Draenor, right? So normals will be flex. Normals will be what flexes are now. So I guess LFR and normals in Draenor. Um, find a way so that just makes tanking a little more forgiving if a mistake is made. That way, maybe just more people will want to be tanks. I don't know. Maybe give them a little more DPS, maybe, so that it's more fun. So that they're not. I know a lot of tanks already have it. I've seen some tanks be like way up there in the DPS, and um, I guess if I'm not sure how they do it, but I know a lot of tanks really can really just pump out some DPS, but I think in general they really do a lot less than the pure DPS specs. Well, yeah, the DPS specs obviously, and obviously your DPS is always going to do more DPS than a tank. But I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there. We really really need to find a way to get more tanks, more people playing tanks, making it more fun, more engaging or something. Everybody wants to be DPS because, they see that number. They see that it's like a competition, right, against all the other DPS. Who's got the most DPS? Who's got the most DPS? And healers, to an extent, can kind of do the same thing, but healing is a kind of weird thing I've noticed on the charts because, depending on the classes that are there, like I find like the disc priests will really tend to be pretty high up on that HPS list because their absorbs come in, and they kind of, if they go in and absorb, put on their bubbles or whatever it's called, penance, or I don't know what it's called, put whatever it is, those things that absorb on everybody while they're all on full health, and then some big damage comes in. Well, my hots aren't doing anything at that time because they're just getting absorbed damage at full health. So those meters are a little weird for, they still have some value and you can still compare yourself with other of the same class and stuff like that. But you still at least have some kind of that competition. Looking at those meters, seeing how much you healed and stuff like that. It's not, obviously not the same effect as DPS, but at least there's something. But when you're a tank, you don't, there's that, you don't have that real competition thing, right? You're not fighting for heals. You're not fighting for DPS because you're not going to win. But maybe if they gave them a little more DPS, uh, so that if they're like really really good, and maybe they can you know get that little more DPS than some of the lower geared ones or whatever. I don't know, something. They got to figure out something, right? We really need to find a way to get people tanking. So yeah, I just want to get back on that a little bit, and just to just to really bring that point up. So, anyways, I'm well over my time again. So, but hey, as long as I got some useful information coming out, that'd be good. That's good. Hopefully you enjoy the content that I bring to you. Hopefully you like my opinions, and I hope you keep coming. I hope you come back. Hope you subscribe. You should see a little subscribe button right around there somewhere. A little picture of my mage. And if you want to email me, you can email me. Wow on my mind. See that right there? Wow on my mind at gmail.com. Drop me a line. If leave comments. Leave comments. If you like the video, please hit like. It helps out. Give it a thumbs up. Whatever, however it is they do that on YouTube. And come back. Watch more. And I really appreciate it. So, everybody, have fun playing World of Warcraft. Take care. Bye-bye.